Second down and 11. I believe Nebraska was offside. This could be a free shot for Seneca Wallace. Fires it incomplete, but I think it's going to wind up 5-yard advantage. Cyclones over here on the right side. It appeared that T.J. Hollowell, the Will linebacker, had moved a little ahead of the snap, but we'll see. Yes, has not been a great thrower in the rain. He's watched him, and this is advantage Nebraska if it gets into a power game, according to McCarney. And here on the move now is Seneca, intercepted at the 40-yard line. Nebraska with Fabian Washington, and a penalty flag flying at the 45-yard line.
Lane Danielson got hit behind the play. I don't know if that's what they called the penalty on or not, but this was an ill-advised. Someone right in Seneca's face throwing that ball very, very poorly to the outside. Reminds me of the one he threw against Nebraska last year.
Now here it is. A year ago, as you select.
Illegal block in the back after the interception. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
Frustration penalties. You're watching. Seneca's going to roll wide and get pressure in his face, and he throws this one very poorly. Gets it right there, throws it way behind an open Danielson, and then the penalty after the interception.
Here's the flip to Diedrich, and he is surrounded. And the one thing you notice between Jamal Lord running this offense right now and what was going on a year ago with Eric Crouch, it's much more basic here right now. As Corey Ross took that pitch, let me correct that from Diedrich, and let's go to John Saunders. Here's Lord on a fake down to Diedrich. Steps away, and there's a penalty flag. Fumble! Iowa State may have jumped on this, but there is a penalty flag, so we'll let the officials sort this out. Iowa State has the football. If that penalty is holding against Nebraska, they've got a huge break again.
I think it's going to be on John Garrison, the center, who pulled out on the play and held.
Penalty be declined. First down.
Yeah, absolutely. I think right there, but the fumble kind of doesn't make any difference because it's going to be the no factor in the second turnover of the game.
First down and 10. Mark Timmons jarred that ball loose, and here comes Seneca Wallace. Rolling hard to the right again. Dropped, incomplete. Danielson had it for a moment. Draw play, Wagner. That's the best running hole that has opened up. And Wagner just short of the 40-yard line with Rude making the stop.
Let's take a look at what both teams are going to try to do in this game. Nebraska's going to try to run the ball with power, then the option play, and you always know Nebraska has a few of those gadgets. The finesse game, not much drop-back passing. The Cyclones want to finesse you first, going all over the field. Then they go with the drop-back game featuring Seneca Wallace, a little play-action featuring their great quarterback, and then lastly, they run the ball. Remember, they've had 1,000-yard runners ever since McCarney's come here.
Third down and 7. Offensive line does its job. Wallace can't find an open receiver. A catch right at the 35-yard line. And that is Jack Whitver again making a nice grab on that ball.
Well, Jack Whitver had his career day against Iowa. 8 catches, 132 yards when that big comeback win they had against their cross-state rivals. But again, watch Seneca Wallace. He's not had a great start in this game. But you think this guy's got confidence? Threw an interception, goes to his right, comes back and guns another one on the same play. And Whitver and Danielson make those tough catches low and away all day.
Missed by that much. McCarney on the headset. Looks like a football coach, doesn't he? If you want a Hollywood prototype of what a football coach should. Now there's a football face right there. Came off that great Hayden Fry staff, went up with Barry Alvarez in Wisconsin. He's done a remarkable job here in Ames. So it'll be a fourth down. Goal line defense comes on the field now for the Huskers. Wagner stays in at running back. Wallace ahead for the first down. followed the left side of the offensive line and dove across for a fresh set of downs here for Iowa State. In case you just joined us, after a fumble recovered, they kicked a field goal. Let's go to Jackaroo.
One of the things about Seneca Wallace, no matter whether he has a good start or a bad start, whether it's an up game or a down game, his emotions stay the same. The coaches say there's no gray areas for Seneca. He remains almost like a flat line. He just wants to get the job done. He does what he's told, but you don't see a lot of emotion from him.
Got a chance here, Jack. Up by 3. Great striking distance here. There's Wagner. That hole opens on the left-hand side. Wagner to the 15-yard line. First down. Iowa State after the 19-yard run. And Iowa State upstairs has seen something. That is twice the blocking has opened that lane over on the right side of the Nebraska D.
Watch Des Moines Adams right here. He's fearful of Seneca Wallace coming outside. When they run the mesh inside, he just stands there. He's unblocked. Watch this. Stands there, stands there, stands there. Uh-oh. Quarterback doesn't have the ball this time. No one blocks him. He runs right at him, and they run the play.
Well, I see one of the things they did. They had both Rutland and Wagner on the field, and they ran a split back. And they have not shown that much this year with the two of them. Split the two tailbacks. Now they hit Danielson inside the 10-yard line. Fumble.
This team does not fumble the ball either.
So we have a couple of minutes left here in the opening quarter on a rainy day in Ames, Iowa. The biggest game in decades for Iowa State. Our leaders, Wallace, 4 of 10, but he has thrown 1 interception, but Iowa State overcame that and got the ball back. Wagner has given them a big lift on this drive. He's responsible now for putting that ball inside the 10-yard line. Second down. You see from behind the black shirt defense. They get down now, looking for a play, need a turnover. They held Iowa State to a field goal the last time they were knocking on the door. Here comes Rutland, steps his way to the 5-yard line and close to a first down. Williams makes the stop, and tomorrow it's the most. He got the distance.
Last time in this situation they went with option. Nebraska was ready for it without slants. Let's see if they go up the middle this time. Rutland is their best power running back.
Takes a deep setup to the middle. Pounds to the heart of that defense, and it'll be second down and goal.
Dan McCarney's roots were the running game at Wisconsin under Barry Alvarez. Came here and said, I want to run the ball, but when you got a guy like Seneca Wallace, how can you not throw it?
Montgomery goes out to the right. Whitford's to the left. They come back with Rutland short of the goal line again against Nebraska. And this Nebraska defense has been under fire here in the first quarter. Iowa State has dominated field position against Bull's defense. Well, it is third and goal. Seneca Wallace. Now Nebraska stopped him last time. What about this play?
Well, I don't think we'll see the option this time. They have not had much success with the option against Florida State nor Nebraska. They're looking for it. I'd take it right up at them. Maybe even twice.
Well, that would be interesting. They'll pass up the field goal if they don't make it. Here it is. Over the top. Touchdown. Rutland goes airborne. The kind of start the Cyclones were hoping to get.
Nebraska has nobody to blame but themselves. They're not playing bad football tackling. They just are making silly mistakes, fumbling the ball in penalties, and allowing Iowa State to make first downs.
5 penalties for 40 yards, but the offense has only gained 38 yards here in the first quarter. When's the last time we heard of a Nebraska offense held to 38 yards in a quarter? Beneke adds the extra point. So after the fumble, the recovery, it was the touchdown. Timeout. That's the the Clones lead Nebraska 10-0, and they are dominating both lines of scrimmage here in the early going. Here comes the kickoff formation now for Iowa State, and again they'll try to seal Davis up, not give him any breakout room. He got it the last time on a delay, but a penalty brought it back. To the return team's left is what they want. 3 yards deep. Davis will not get to past the 10-yard line. Our Pacific Life game summary. Take a look at the Cyclones defense. They have held Nebraska to 38 yards, rushing 23, passing 15, and then there was the turnover, the second one, Gary.
This was Davis right here. Gets the ball hit from behind, and that ball should, when you've got your kick returner catching a ball in the flat like that, 2 big turnovers have really juiced this Iowa State football team.
The pressure is on number 10. He's going to step back. He's got a man wide open, deep, got him in a foot race. Here's Pilkington. The 20, the 15, touchdown, Nebraska. A 90-yard scoring strike from Jamal Lord, who hadn't done anything to impress anybody in this game until that moment when Pilkington broke wide open deep, and the freshman from Fort Collins, Colorado, did the rest. Whacks the extra point, pulls Nebraska to within 3 yards on the receiving end. And Jamal Lord under the gun and not looking good. There's the corner Hobbs, who was beaten badly on the play. Now it will be Iowa State's turn. They'll take a knee and bring it out on the 20. Gary, 10-7 Cyclones, and Seneca Wallace comes out in the gun, stacks wideouts over to the left. Looks at the 23. Well, it's time for the Aflac trivia question. This week's question is, who was the hero the last time Iowa State beat Nebraska? All you Cyclone fans here around Des Moines, stand up and in unison give the answer. You know it. I know you know it, but we'll let the rest of the audience stew a little bit and think about it. Second down. He is a legend in these parts. Second down and 7. Seneca now puts 3 wideouts over on the left and then brings one back in motion. He'll roll hard to that direction. He's terrific moving that way. Got an open man. Danielson with good hands that Gary told you about. Snapped up and brought it down.
Danielson is what you'd like to call a possession receiver. Maybe in the NFL he would be, but he's a 4-5 guy. Excellent route runner, and he just snaps it. I like the way the ball stops spinning immediately when it hits his hands. Again, gets Seneca Wallace outside the pocket, throwing on the run and snap. That ball just gets it in his hands, and it does not move.
13 yards for Seneca Wallace, who's 5 of 11.
Am I pronouncing that name right, Danielson? I got it?
Got the pronunciation absolutely right on the mark. And Rutland has a first down to midfield. So let's take a closer look at young Danielson. We'll answer the question, is he related to my booth partner?
Well, he looks like me. Good-looking guy. He's very smart. That kind of goes together, you know. But I will say I've only been through Iowa one time. It was about 20 years ago, so, you know.
Oh, wait a minute. Doesn't know how this area. Well, you know, look, it's Ian and my guy up here is Owen. Okay, that's the deal. All right, so we can answer the question right away. Didn't have to go through all that egomaniacal stuff. First down and 10. Here's a handoff down to Wagner for 4 yards.
I'll take him. I'll say that for him.
Yes, indeed, huh? Gary, look at this crowd over on the hillsides across the way. Not only are the seats full, but look at the fans standing.
That is not stands right there. In there, that's just a hill right in between there. Those are all people standing on the hill. It's like the Little League World Series for you, right?
That's right. That's right. Up on the old home run hill out there. Second down and 6. Good Good job by the offensive line. So Seneca goes for the home run to Montgomery over the top. A little bit underthrown that time. And Fabian Washington, the cornerback, is down on the ground as the receiver came up over the top of him.
Well, Michael waits too long to throw the ball. Montgomery gets out of range for him. And watch, underthrow Montgomery does a nice job knocking it down, and boom.
10-7. Iowa State up a field goal. They're down in 6. Report from the sideline is that Washington is fine and will be back. Seneca runs hard now to the right. On the move. Got him. There's Danielson again. And that ball will be spotted at the 36-yard line. At the conclusion of the game, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game from each.
Interesting, Iowa State, Steve Bricky, their offensive coordinator, makes a nice adjustment. When you're playing man-to-man, they stack their wide receivers occasionally outside and take away that ability from Nebraska to go bump and run. This time, 2 tight ends. You see it, Nebraska's in the umbrella zone.
Wagner to the 33-yard line. Let's check in with Jack.
Well, Brent, we watched Michael Wagner take that carry, and Wagner is a guy that came here just by happenstance. He'd received several offers to go to other schools, and when it finally came down to crunch time, he really didn't get any solid offers. So he kind of dialed the phone and called the Iowa State folks and says, hey, are you guys still interested in me? And he said, well, yeah, we'd love to have you. And he said, well, I've thought it over and I'm coming up there. The only problem was nobody else had wanted to have him come up for a visit. So he came here and fooled the coaches. They're not fooled anymore.
Now they run off a pass formation that time, but Nebraska jumped it. And they continue to stack receivers out wide to Seneca's left. And remember, he is unusual in that we're talking about Seneca Wallace now. He can run hard to the left and throw back to the right. That's a rarity. And he may throw better going to the left than he does to the right, but he throws extremely well on the move. He's somebody who can really move the pocket with. Here's 3rd and 6. He has underthrown the deep ball here today, however, so we should take note of that, and I'm sure Nebraska has. And here comes a blitz. Penalty flag. He's offside. It's a free shot for Wallace. He's tripped up down at the 30, but I think Nebraska was offside. Kelsey.
Going to be third. Third and short again.
5-yard penalty. Repeat, 3rd down.
You find that tough to say when you've got Nebraska playing Iowa State, but that's the way it is today after 3 tough road losses.
This one's
before the snap. This one will go against the Cyclones.
Ball start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 3rd down.
Nebraska turned the ball over twice early, and Iowa State turned the 2 turnovers into 10 points. And then Pilkington got free and off beautiful fake by Lord, 90 yards the rest for the freshman from Colorado. And Nebraska right back in the thick of things. And here's a big play for both teams. 3rd down and 6. Ball's inside the 35-yard line. Wallace moving hard to the left. Wants to throw. There it is. Back against the grain to Danielson for the 1st down. There is what we were talking about. Going hard to the left and throw back to the right. Now watch as we go back against Iowa. This is the key play, Gary.
Absolutely was. They needed to come out of their end zone. Iowa starting to make a run at them. And look at this throw. Same as we've just seen it. This one to Whitver. That one to Danielson. I think everybody in the stadium, Brett, was expecting Seneca Wallace to run for that 1st down, but he keeps his eyes downfield. Again, he thinks of himself as a passer first. I asked him, are you a slash guy? He said, no, I'm a quarterback.
That's true. And Oregon State had him as a return man and a defensive back, where he transferred down to a junior college in California. And then only 2 schools, New Mexico State and Iowa State, recruited him as a quarterback. So it was a very easy decision for Wallace. And McCarney said that when he looked at the tapes, he never thought about using him anyplace else. He's just saying now, he said, but so we really thought that he could be a quarterback for us. And what a job he has done for the program. Just to have an Iowa State player like Troy Davis mentioned as a Heisman Trophy candidate is a big thing for Iowa State here in Ames. It gives them a lot of favorable publicity, and it is 2nd down and 6 now for Wallace. And the Cyclones, they're in that red zone against Nebraska. Wagner is eaten up. And I want to tell you, Mr. Kelsey was ready for that play.
Not only that, it brought somebody off the corner that time, and they ran right into the teeth of the Nebraska blitz. They had Kelsey and the guy coming off the slot. No way Iowa State could make that play go. Craig Bohl dialed that one correctly. You see it is right off the corner right there. Two guys. Kelsey defeats his guy, and coming right from the top, McPherson is right in there. That's a good defensive call by Craig Bohl.
3rd down and 10 against Bohl's defense.
Stack is out here again.
He's back to the left, high and incomplete. Whitford, the intended receiver, working against Gross, and it will be field goal time again for the Cyclones.
Well, they went to the right guy. He had man-on-man coverage out there. Whitford coming on a comeback route, had him open and just sailed it a little wide.
So Adam Beneke will put the Cyclones ahead 3-0 back on the field. Made that 23-yarder. And in a game like this, how critical it is to kick these field goal opportunities. This is a 35-yarder. True again. So McCarney and Iowa State tack up another field goal. They lead it 13-7. Timeout. Well, Iowa State in the Associated Press's top 20 for the first time in 21 years. And you can see how they have dominated the number of plays, because Nebraska's scoring play, well, it was only one play.
Right, and 2 fumbles, but usually Nebraska has it the other way around. We're used to Nebraska running that clock, grinding it, getting all the plays. Iowa State has to feel really good, except for one thing. 13-7, one play, let them have a touchdown.
Davis back in the end zone. And again, you have seen the strategy. They're going to try to get him over to his left in the end zone. Once it goes into the end zone, it's a touchback and it'll come out. An ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest lasting trucks on the road. Discover card, it pays to discover. Singular Wireless, introducing Singular Rollover. They're your minutes, keep them. And Olive Garden, where great Italian food tells you when you're here, your family. So Jamal Lord in Nebraska walks back out on the field with 8 minutes remaining here in the first half, and it's 13-7. It's one of those tough Big 12 games. A lot of helmet knocking going down in the pits. And here comes Lord, loose ball. Dietrich's got it, saves it. A 90-yard touchdown pass on one play and a near disaster on the next.
Well, Lord was the guy, but it was Matt Ward, number 7. It slashes right in right there. Iowa State comes with 4 defensive linemen and 4 linebackers against Nebraska this time. And number 7, Matt Ward, was there to get that pitch going the wrong direction. Nice field on the option.
2nd down and 21, folks. Lord takes it away from the fullback, going nowhere. Well, earlier we asked you the Aflac trivia question. Who was Iowa State's quarterback the last time they defeated Nebraska? Well, in his last home game of his career, they started a man who will forever be known as Marvelous Marv Silent. And I think many of you, if you're Nebraska fans, well, you don't want to see that play again. But Iowa State says, bring it on, and we will after this play.
Very dangerous for Nebraska. This is out of their ordinary offense. Third and very long.
Quarterback draw to the 15. Now let's go back to Marvelous Marv, now a banker in a suburb outside of Des Moines. Here comes number 14. That's Rev Albert's gang, unable to stop him. And he goes 78 yards. How about that? Chris Ulrich then scored on a 2-yard touchdown, making the final score 19-10. And the goalpost came down. That, folks, way back before McCarney became the head coach here. High snap. Larson snaps it down and booms another one. And here's Miller. To the 43-yard line, where it will be Iowa State's ball. Cyclones lead the Huskers 13-7 in Ames. Timeout. Iowa State with a first down on their own 43-yard line. Danielson comes toward the line. They fake the end around. Big hole for Rutland. 11 yards and a first down. Well, Shannon Sharp and Ray Lewis were teammates in Super Bowl 35. Now they're on opposite sides of the ball. Monday night at 9 Eastern. Sharp leads the undefeated Broncos against Lewis and the Ravens defense. Don't forget to log on to NFL.com or ESPN.com. Keyword Monday Night Football 500 as we count down to Monday Night Football's 500th broadcast. Here it is, first down now for the Cyclones. They are into Nebraska territory, moving the ball again.
They have not shown the same formation twice in a row in this game yet.
Rutland again. To the 41. Let's check in on the Gators and Kentucky. Here's John Saunders.
Yeah, Brent, which Florida team is it? The one that beat Tennessee or the one that lost to Miami? Facing Kentucky today, Carthon takes this one in pretty much untouched. 19 yards for the touchdown. They had missed a point after earlier, so they went for two. They missed that as well. 12-0 Florida over Kentucky.
All right, John, and here, Iowa State leading Nebraska 13-7. The Clones with a second down from the Nebraska 42-yard line. Wallace going to go for the bundle against Gross. Incomplete.
Well, that's the fastest receiver for Iowa State. Chris Young is their fastest guy. The rest of the receivers, Montgomery might be next, but Danielson and Whitver are kind of possession receivers, so they try to get a deep one against Gross down the field.
It's an interesting strategy that Iowa State has devised here. They are going to throw long occasionally,
yes,
just to keep those corners on their toes and stretch that defense out a little bit. Then they come back in underneath on those roll passes left and right. But Wallace has attacked deep on both sides. He has not been afraid of going against Gross.
He's been coming all game off the corner.
Now on third down. Underneath, is that a flag? Yes, there it is. Automatic first down for Iowa State on that third down play. Fabian Washington a little too aggressive. I think moved in a little too quickly on it.
I think he did too, but look how accurate this ball is thrown on this ball to Whitver. They went deep, as Brent said, on second down and then come back for the pass for the first down. And Whitver shields the defender, and that ball was right at his 2-6. Comes zipping right at you. All you need, about 7 yards for a first down, comes right at his chest and forces Washington to go through the receiver. Coming up, very simple. Come back to the ball, and he does, and Washington comes a little too quickly.
And watching Iowa State, and this is the first game that I have done with McCarney, the coach here, it is obvious this is a well-coached football team. This offensive line sits down, no false starts. Here comes Rutland behind them. Picks up a couple of yards. No wonder other schools and NFL teams come in here and hire away assistant coaches. Let's check in now with Jack Arute.
Well, Brent, sometimes defense can get a little too aggressive, as we saw with that pass interference play, but Craig Bolt wants that kind of aggressiveness. He also counseled his team all week. Look, Iowa State can make the big play. The key to our defense is how do we bounce back after a big play. After that one play that gave the Iowa Cyclones the lead, he went back and said, remember my big play speech, and they all shook their heads.
And Jack, here is a second down for Wallace. And again, Kelsey jumped, did not get back. Free shot on the slant. Got it. To the 6-yard line. Montgomery, the junior from Long Beach, California, 26 yards. They'll take the play and decline the offside penalty.
Precision and accuracy. They don't call it the West Coast offense, but this is exactly what Iowa State is doing. Short routes, precise routes by the wide receivers, and accurate throws by the quarterback. When you're able to do this, you see Kelsey go off sides right there. 3-step drop, pump it out there, right on the numbers and face mask. And Montgomery's able to slash to the outside, catching the ball with the hook, catching the ball underneath. And as Brent made a good point, because I think you have to do this. You must throw the ball deep to keep them off.
Montgomery's to the left. Rutland Pounding to the middle to the 3-yard line where it will be second down and goal. And remember, when they finally scored a touchdown, they pounded away at the middle with number 12. They did not try to run the option Y. McCarney's deep pounding ahead. And a reminder that coming up on the Valvoline halftime show, John Saunders and Terry Bowden will have all the scores and highlights from around the country. And congratulations have to go out to the Hawkeyes of Iowa and the game they played, and then the heartbreak, letting Penn State tie them and winning it in overtime. Just a great win for Iowa today. Rutland loose. But only that's a helmet. When I saw that come out, I said, well, no, wait, I didn't look at the ball, but I don't think it's a head either, so it's got to be a helmet.
Well, he's got it high and tight on the sides. Maybe that helmet doesn't fit very well anymore.
It was amazing.
Ball in there running this time. Nebraska is equal to the task. They take it on. Sievers is right there to make the play inside. And let's see now. They've run inside. They've run inside. You got to believe Craig Bowl and Nebraska's guessing option.
You know, I honestly would throw it with this young man. His slants look so good to me, and he squeezes the ball in there.
Well, he's got a nice matchup. He's got a nice matchup.
Know him a lot better than I do.
Danielson to the outside right here.
He's up against Ricketts. Touchdown. There comes Danielson.
Watch the patience of Danielson. He gives Seneca time. Passing the first inside guy makes the low throw. Another accurate throw. And Danielson's adjusts. He adjusts as well as I do to Brent in the game.
So, you know, that's scary. That looks like it's going to be there all day. That was a soft corner coverage on a slant down there. Let me tell you, you've got to get up on top of the receiver on that play. McCarney has to feel so good about this start.
Oh, he's not going to go for 2, is he?
Oh, he's got a timeout. We're going to talk about it. Well, Gary and I disagree on what's about to happen, but Iowa State wants to get to 21, and Gary hates this early in the game, and he makes a good point about it.
There's 2 ways to go. Unbalanced line to the wide side of the field. Unbalanced right. Extra guy here.
Wallace pulls out. Now in trouble. Advantage Gary Danielson.
I don't see what's wrong with a touchdown and 2 field goal lead this early in a football game, but Dan McCarney thought he had a play, and he went to, let's go back to the touchdown. Key here is reading the safety. Right here, you know you got the slant coming behind the safety. Seneca Wallace must read that guy. Does he go with the tight end in the flat? If he does, you throw it to the slant. Watch this. Does he? Does he? Yes, there he goes. You got the wide open field. You cannot play off a defender on the goal line. Seneca come back. Watches, easy pitching.
Now that's a well-designed play, folks, because the next time you see it, watch the tight end come over and bring the safety toward him. Segan runs from left to right on the formation because the coaches want the safety out of there on the slant play. And this Iowa State staff, everything we see with them is unbelievable. Tomorrow on ABC, the practice returns with a powerful season premiere. New stories, new cases, and one brand new lawyer promised to make this season the best of all. It's time to get into the practice of watching the practice. The season premiere, ABC tomorrow at 10, 9 Central. The coming out party in Ames, Iowa.
Nebraska defense has not forced a 3-and-out yet in this football game. They've had the intercepted pass, but just like the Penn State game, when they didn't force a 3-and-out against Penn State until late in the 4th quarter, so far Iowa State has not had a 3-and-out in the game.
And again, we see the unorthodox kickoff formation, but it is working. Getting a little bit of a tired leg. He's been so busy. That was Hasselbrook. Hasselbrook brings it out beyond the 30-yard line. Now, if you take away, folks, the 190-yard play, only 33 yards of offense for Jamal Lord and the Cornhuskers. And you have to wonder at what point the coaching staff wants to take a look at Mike Stunts perhaps as a quarterback, or even the freshman who was not redshirted this week. A very interesting move by Solich. Kurt Dukes, wearing number 7, is in uniform, watching the game. So the pressure is on number 10 to mount a drive here. Play fake. Lord going down. And that is the freshman nose guard from Omaha's Millard West High School, Nick Leaders, whose late daddy was a good player here at Iowa State. He and his brother are teammates, and the freshman was going to be under fire, but he's not playing like a freshman on that play.
No way Iowa State was buying this was a running play. They were coming upfield. They were thinking play action pass all the way. Leaders, no one to throw to for Lord, no confidence to get rid of the ball to get a new sack.
Putting them in second down and 18, off to the right and in the dirt.
Look at Jamel Lord. Let's take a look at his scouting report. He's a big guy. He's a good runner. He's got a lot of power. But this last thing here, right here, erratic throw late in the football game, you know, when you're behind, is tough for this offense.
And he takes a timeout. But there's a penalty flag. Hold on. Juszczyk threw the flag, I think, before the timeout. He's checking with the linesman now.
I got a dead ball foul. Substitution infraction. Breaking a huddle with more than 11 before the timeout was called.
12 men in the huddle.
They do not want the timeout.
So it is that long third down. They'll set the screen. They won't get it. And Nebraska's forced the punt inside of 2 minutes. Nick Leaders making another play. And the youngster's got a future, doesn't he? Look at this big fella.
Well, he's all out effort. This Iowa State team feels it. They feel they can steal this football game. I think they feel with Seneca Wallace and the matchup they have at wide receiver, every time they get the ball, they feel like they're going to score.
If ever there was a time to go after a punt when an offense can't move a lick, now's the time. They blocked one in the last game. McCarney didn't think he could get one against Nebraska. He thought they were very sound, good punter. And they'll set it, just happy to take the ball and take this lead on into the locker room. Miller. A crease. 45. Down at midfield. Gerald Pippins, the free safety from Philadelphia's West Catholic, just may have, saved a touchdown with that tackle. Good job by number 31.
Todd Miller was recruited to Iowa State as a punt returner, number 5, and he's able to fill these creases. He's a specialist. He came in here to return punts, and he feels that flow in and out, quick feet. That's what you have to have as a punt returner. And now with the ball at midfield and 2 timeouts remaining, Iowa State is figuring they can at least make up for that missed extra point or maybe push another one in there. Reminds
me of Tim Dwight. 31-yard return for Miller off a 55-yard punt. Now Seneca works with half a field. Comes back underneath and it is dropped as the receiver turned way too quickly. And that was Hiawatha Rutland out of the backfield. Minute and a half, 19-7. Iowa State scored first on a field goal. They've not trailed in this game. Nebraska's touchdown, the 90-yard pass from Lord to Pilkington, a freshman from Fort Collins.
It's almost impossible to get pressure on Seneca Wallace. You don't know where he's throwing from, and that pass rush up front, Kelsey and the boys cannot get to him quick enough.
3 wide on second down. Got his man, and he'll step out of bounds to stop the clock short of the first down. Montgomery steps out. 1:28 remaining on the clock.
We watched a lot of tape, watched 2 games, talked to Pro Scout about him also. I only know he's only 5'10". He does not get very many passes batted down. I only saw 1. The Pro Scout told me he charted 1,000 throws for Seneca Wallace, and he's only had 2 passes batted down, even though he's 5. That means he's got a quick release.
We'll see it in action now on second down. Over the top, beautifully thrown ball, just what Gary was telling you about, to Danielson, who's out of bounds inside the 25-yard line. That's 18 yards, and folks, that was a beautiful pass.
Danielson owns Ricketts. He's telling him every time. He's got Ricketts again playing off. He says, anytime this guy plays off, I got a 2-way go on him, man-to-man. There is no way he can cover me. I got an accurate quarterback. I'm going to keep my body in front of it. I own this guy.
So as you look at this Nebraska defense, you realize how much they miss Amos, the defensive back who been lost because of an injury, and how much they could use him in this inexperienced defensive backfield. Seneca Wallace now stands tall, fires in underneath inside the red zone. They pick up 5 yards with Jamal Montgomery, the junior from Long Beach, making another catch. For this half, Wallace is now 12 of 22 for 126 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception, and he smells it here again. Offensive line doing a beautiful job. Got it, took it away from the corner on that side. Washington had a shot at it, and a great play by Lance Young. It looked for an instant like it was going to be intercepted, but Young went back and battled for the pass.
Young with his right shoulder shielded Fabian Washington away from that play. The ball was thrown to the outside shoulder. Precision in the pass game.
First down and goal, and a penalty flag comes flying.
Ball. False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty.
Let's take a look at that last play when Fabian Washington looked like and thought he had that interception. Young's going outside, comes inside. It's going to be a hook route. Washington says, I got this one, but Young moves inside just a bit, and Washington kind of fanned it. He should have at least knocked that ball down.
He was also guilty of defensive holding a couple of times.
Well, that's been gone all day.
Grabbing him on New Jersey.
Here's the matchup here again.
That was only the second penalty against Iowa State in this half. Rutland is buried at the 13-yard line by Ryan Bingham, the junior from Sandy, Utah. Oh, we've got a timeout with 23 seconds. McCarney not happy with the breakdown. The movement that cost him 5 yards can be a drive killer sometimes. Here's our leaders. You can see Wallace. Wagner has given way to Rutland here lately, but Wagner had a couple of nice runs earlier in the half, and Danielson now 7 catches for 73 yards as they continue to move him around in the formations.
Well, as long as he has Ricketts number 28 on him, I think they're going to love that matchup and go. You wonder if Nebraska doesn't need to make a little bit of a change and go with Gross on Danielson and take him away. You know, kind of an oddity in this game. I don't know if I've ever seen this, Brent. On shotgun snaps, the center snaps the ball with his left hand. But when Seneca gets under the center, it's right-handed. I don't know if I've ever seen that for Zach Butler, the center. Left-handed shotgun, right-handed under the center.
That is, it's truly amazing. And when you and I were watching tape and we saw that, he was inaccurate with the left hand. Now today, he's been on the money.
Much better, yes. The captain has done a better job. He got that C on his chest right there.
Ambidextrous center over the ball, and Wallace going to walk up underneath him, and so he says, well, I'll use my right hand. So here we go. Second down and goal now after the penalty. Pump fake, got an open man. It's Danielson again at the 10-yard line. They have a timeout left with 15 seconds, and there they use it right now. Ricketts again trying to hold his own in here.
I know Dan McCarty wants to make up for that missed 2-point play, but I think he could get one throw to the end zone before they kick the field goal.
Let's go to Jack.
Brent, we've talked about Heisman Trophy candidates and what they do. We don't need a billboard. We don't need a grain elevator. Here at Iowa State, they put Seneca Wallace's picture and likeness on some of the world's most incredible tourist destinations. The only difference, Brent, is Thank God for computers and graphics. That's the way they get it done.
Jack was so strong there, he just blacked out the whole stadium. Hey, Jack, by the way, happy birthday.
Oh, you knuckleheads.
You don't look a day older, but come to Iowa, celebrate your birthday, great.
Hey, Ames is a great place to celebrate your birthday. Where are we going to celebrate yours?
I celebrate it every night, my friend.
No.
All right. Notice, Gary, I didn't ask him how old he is. You know, did you notice how polite I was?
Jack's got the wet head going right there, though, I'll tell you.
I think he is about
now,
14.
Let's make sure now, Nebraska should not allow the fade to the end zone. The strategy is Iowa State has to throw the ball in the end zone. Nebraska must play the odds here and make a throw short.
Out of timeouts.
Another false start.
Another false start. Going to make it a little tougher for Beneke if they have to attempt the field goal here in the closing seconds.
Dead ball. False start.
You know, if you're McCarney,
5-yard penalty.
I have to tell you that McCarney can use this particular series and these screw-ups to rally the troops in the locker room. He apparently went absolutely ballistic over at Iowa City, and why not? They were down by 17 points. Now look at that face. This man can get in your face, and this drive's going to give him an opportunity, I think, at the intermission. But here comes Wallace back high, and it's intercepted. They don't even get a shot at the field goal as Washington picks it off in the end zone. A big save.
Well, that's unacceptable.
That's the second interception thrown by Wallace.
Yeah, Chris Young, this is unacceptable. You come back out, you know this is either a touchdown or you knock it down. He just stops on this ball and lets it be intercepted. You must knock it down and save 3 points for your football team. He's got a freshman out here on him. Ball gets up in the air. Seneca says, come on, big guy, go get it. And he just lets it go. Unacceptable.
So it's 10 seconds to the intermission, and Nebraska's not about to do anything foolish here.
How about this again, Brent? 18 plays for Nebraska in the first half. This will be number 19.
And take away the 90-yard score, and they've had about 35 yards of offense in this half. So the Cyclones will take a 19-7 lead into the locker room. And coming up at halftime, John Saunders and Terry Bowser. Despite giving up a 90-yard touchdown, Iowa State leads at 19-7 as they continue to dominate the line of scrimmage. We check in now on our Pacific Life game summary. Check out the first downs that we had in the first half. And this is how Iowa State's offensive line has controlled the defensive front. 15-2 in first down. So, Gary, I ask you, now you think Nebraska's still right in this, and certainly that misfire down the end zone hurt Iowa State. What do you think about what Frank might do here?
Well, I think they're going to get Incognito back in the second half. He's their most physical lineman. They need to go back to what they planned early in the game. Be physical, run the ball between the tackles. That's their only chance.
Well, let's go down to Jack, who is with Frank.
Coach, what difference getting Incognito back will make in this second half?
Well, we'll find out, but we just got to do better overall, blocking people on the offensive side of it. We got to get a little bit of run game going and set up some things. And defensively, they've been on the field way too long. We're still, without question, in this ball game, and we just need to get drives established and get a few more turnovers.
Do you stick with Lord, or do you consider making a change?
No, we're going to stick with Jamal at the start of this half. We'll see what happens.
Thanks, Coach.
Well, now, that means Jamal Lord behind Incognito. And folks, if you haven't seen him play tackle, he's an aggressive youngster. He can make an emotional difference here. And Seneca Wallace and Iowa State will get the first possession of the second half, coming out from the 20.
Well, it's like you look at the two quarterbacks. Jamal Lord is not a playmaker with his arm. He had the big pass, obviously. Seneca Wallace, 2 costly interceptions. I think really Iowa State got the minimum amount of points they could have gotten the first half. A first half that they really dominated with the turnovers by Nebraska and the lack of offense by Nebraska. It might not get any better than that. They have to force this first drive.
Kelsey and Severs were slapping elbows and forearms down there in that defensive line for Nebraska as they get ready now for Seneca Wallace. Kelsey gets down as the left defensive end. There's that short drop, and there's that sideline fade incomplete. Second down and 10. And you can see that Montgomery, the intended receiver, was well covered that time. Philip Bland also had come over defensively. And Ricketts had the main coverage. So the calmness of Seneca Wallace as he slips in under center. Again, he started out junior college out in Sacramento, California, before transferring here to Ames. Rolling to the right, looking for an open man. Danielson goes up, got it, a beautiful catch. As Danielson takes it away from Ricketts at the 46-yard line, and you won't find a better grab. It's now 9 catches for Danielson.
You won't find a better grab than that outside of Michigan, where Charles Rogers does this routinely. Danielson believes that if you throw the ball to him matched up against Ricketts, he's going to make the play. Wallace sees the matchup, tosses it up, and he says, go up and get it. And Danielson, again, watch how he catches it every time with his hands. He reminds me of Brian Brennan, the old Boston College receiver who played for the Cleveland Browns.
9 catches for 111 yards. The middle opens for Rutland off the fake that time, and he's tackled at the 41-yard line by Chad Severs. Now let's listen to Seneca as he talks about his maturity as a quarterback.
Going to a junior college helped me out a lot. I got a lot of, repetitions at quarterback there, and I had a great college coach, and he helped me out a lot with some of the fundamentals of playing quarterback and throwing on the run and stuff like that.
Danielson is out for this play, and Lance Young is split out to the left. Seneca back in the gun, so it's a be that left-handed snap. And here's Wagner to daylight. 30, 25, inside the red zone, and out of bounds at the 16-yard line. And again, Iowa State is knocking on the door.
Iowa State has mesmerized this Nebraska defense. There's no blitzing. There's no upfield penetration. Again, watch Adams right here. He gets stoned at the line of scrimmage. You got Nebraska guys going left, got Nebraska guys going right. They really have not found a comfort zone. A great job Iowa State has done by keeping them off balance with their play calling and Seneca Wallace's mobility.
Here comes the end around. They've been working to set that up all game long, and Montgomery was tackled by Philip Bland, who was not fooled.
Now, Philip Bland beat him to the spot that time, basically. He saw it coming. He didn't believe it was going to be a run play up the middle on first down, and that was one a little too tricky that time. Keep the ball in the hands of your playmaker. Number 15, Seneca's your playmaker. Keep it in his hands.
Well, they moved Danielson into that slot, and Ricketts has the slot man. Second down. Wallace looks. He's got to slant the outside man. Whitmer came in that time, and he's brought down hard at the 11-yard line by Mr. Ricketts.
They set up the bubble screen look to the outside to Danielson, and then he threw the slant off of it. Danielson kind of bellies out right here, and then Whitmer comes down on the slant. Watch this play. Seneca comes back, keeps the ball high. He's ready. There's the break on the ball for the bubble screen, and that just keeps that area open right behind him.
They're down at 4 against Solich's Nebraska team. 3 wide, Rutland the running back. On the right hash, Seneca moving hard to the left. He's got daylight. Got a block. Dove for the pylon. Oh, how reminiscent that was of the Florida State play going the other way. He's out of bounds at that 1-yard line over there.
They ran the same play to the other side of the field. The same exact play.
Let's go back now to the Florida State play. Great second half comeback by Seneca. Looking for a tie, hoping for overtime. Watch him dive. Did he get it over the pylon? You could not tell. There hasn't been an angle found yet. But folks, it was close, and then he was stopped as he ran the option on the next play. First down and goal. Fullback Woodley is stopped short of the goal line. Joe Woodley, who is a linebacker from West Des Moines, also comes in as a fullback, and they have used that play once for a touchdown already this year. Now it'll be Second down. Ryan Bingham makes the stop.
Yeah, usually.
And McCarney said, let's go. Smash it at him.
Usually
Smash mouth. You could read what the coach was saying.
Woodley got that one against Iowa. Usually he's just a lead blocker, but they tried to sneak it to him, and Nebraska said,
Second down and goal. They show that power eye again. And Woodley goes straight ahead. No signal. The linesman didn't raise his arms yet.
This one got to inches, within inches this time.
The Huskers trying to hang on here. Trailing 19-7. Nebraska back down on its goal line now. They show the same formation Iowa State does. Show the eye. Woodley bashed again. A battle of wills down here between the fullback and the black shirts, and Sievers makes another great play. Number 54, the sophomore from Valley, Nebraska.
Dan McCarney's being hard-headed here. He wants the fullback to score. Nebraska has not allowed it. That was met right there, helmet to helmet. Now 4th in inches. Again, remember the score right here. Field goal helps. But with Nebraska's lack of offense, Iowa State said we're going for it.
Straight ahead with Seneca on second effort. Touchdown, Iowa State. That was a great word Gary used to describe McCarney, folks. He is stubborn-willed. Wow. He just kept coming.
You know, Woodley didn't score, but on this play, he blocked Seneca into the end zone this time. Seneca got hit from behind as hard as he got hit from in front.
So Beneke on for the extra point. Knocks it through. It is 26-7. So Seneca Wallace on 4th down behind the middle of his offensive line. Watch the second effort as the fullback gets on top of him and pushes him into the end zone. Timeout. Opening drive of the second half. 11 plays, they go 80 yards, and it will be Seneca Wallace sprinting hard to the left. Daylight opens, and he's forced out at the 1-yard line. That led to the touchdown on 4th down. Now the kickoff formation. Going after Davis over to his left. Juggle. Got Alley. 30, 35. Out to the 45-yard line. Fine return. And, you know, they had beaten them 23 of 24 times. And when the Huskers were getting fired up, I thought the columnist over in Omaha, Tom Chattel, came up with a line that folks going up to Ames and having to beat Iowa State is like having to test your manhood against Pee Wee Herman. And you can understand why when you've beaten a team 23 of 24 times. Well, Pee Wee Herman's standing up pretty tall right now with a 26-7 lead. First down. Jamal Lord will try it with good field position. And Diedrich goes nowhere. Folks, he's only been able to rush for 10 yards here today. And Jermaine Phillips, who was moved from running back to the defense, was asked whether or not Nebraska respects them. Just listen.
No, they don't. From the tradition that they have of coming in and beating us the way they have, you know, it's hard to even, you know, earn any kind of respect because it was a mismatch.
And may be repaying the favor here today. Second down and 8. Lord going to throw back on the screen, and it is dropped. Josh Davis, the intended target that time, and it'll be 3rd and 8. Lord is 4 of 6 for 109 yards, but 90 of those yards came on one play.
And a couple have been screens, too. He's had one throw, that low throw to Wilson Thomas, and the long bomb. Pretty ineffective as a passer in this game.
Well, Incognito, the emotional leader who was suspended for the first half of the game because of fighting, and they lost to Penn State 2 weeks ago. Gets down at left tackle. Deflected and incomplete. Brandon Brown, who recovered a fumble back in the first quarter, deflected that ball away.
Total lack of respect by John Scladani, defensive coordinator for Iowa State, for the passing game in Nebraska. 3rd and long, 4 wide receivers for Nebraska, and Scladani leaves on all 3 linebackers. No nickel package at all, and it's knocked down by a linebacker.
Folks, there are only 2 first downs for Nebraska in this football game. And Larson punts it away again. Miller will fair catch it at the 14-yard line, and Wallace and Iowa State will go back to work again. The Cyclones lead it 26-7. All Iowa State. Wallace 16-28 for 187 yards on the game, 1 touchdown and 2 picks. Wagner's rushed for 59, Rutland for 42 yards. Seneca back there in the gun again. And back with Rutland for about a yard or so.
Seneca Wallace has been able to keep this Nebraska defense off balance by throwing all different areas. And look, it's not cheapies either. He's not throwing the ball behind this line of scrimmage here. He's throwing it downfield, gets some deep ones down there. He's making Nebraska cover all the field with the pass offense. And he's also making Nebraska not know where he's going to throw it from. Bootleg, throw the ball to the right. He isn't just passing either. He also has the ability to drop back into the pocket, throw the slant pass across the middle. He has kept Nebraska off balance with quick drops, and then when he has to, just when he has to, he scrambles out to get the big play.
Here's a tough break. Vander Sanden is back down on the field. Remember, he just returned to action today, came back from a broken leg, and it looks like another leg injury. We're not going to jump to any conclusions and let the medical team do its work, but immediately his teammates yelled over to the sideline. The coach is out there. The youngster coming back today has done a great job. And a reminder that ABC Sports presentation of college football is brought to you by the new H2 Hummer, like nothing else. Sprint introducing PCS Vision, clearly a whole new way to look at wireless. Jack Daniel's Original Hard Cola, come as you are. And Pacific Life annuities, insurance, and investments rely on the strength of Pacific Life. That's the Campany Tower here. It's the most notable landmark on Iowa State's campus. And a round of applause as the young man is helped off the field. They know that he wanted so badly to return to this game.
He broke his high ankle leg bone on August 9th. They didn't expect him to play until October, but he wanted to play in this football game. This is actually the first week he was able to run on it, and he was able to start the football game.
You know, at halftime, Gary had an opportunity. Wayne Hogan, the athletic director from the University of Montana, is here with his wife, and he told me the story of Craig Oaks, the one-time Colorado quarterback who had a signed release from Gary Barnett, had it in his hip pocket, went into Coach Joe Glenn's office in Missoula just a few days ago and said, "Coach, I'd like to come." And Joe was rather taken aback, but why not? Passing offense up there in Missoula. We wish Craig Oaks the best. We hope he's recovering from the concussions. We'll see Colorado and Coach Barnett next week. 2nd down and 10. Wallace back in the gun. There's that handoff to Rutland. Going nowhere that time, and it's 3rd down. Well, a reminder that tonight on ESPN, the 2 best teams in the SEC West meet. Tyler Watts and the Crimson Tide visit Pat Jones and the Arkansas Razorbacks on College Football Saturday, presented by the U.S. Postal Service. That's tonight, 7:45 Eastern here on ESPN.
If Iowa State picks up this first down, I think it'll break the backs of Nebraska. It's a must stop for Nebraska. conservative.
We check in with Jack.
Brett, let's update you on Luke Vandersen. They've taken him back into the training room right now. Now, remember, he had the surgery on his left ankle. This time, it's his right ankle. They're going to give him x-rays. They don't know if it's broken, but if not, then it's a very severe sprain.
Well, let's hope it's certainly nothing more serious than a sprain, and that's serious enough. First punt today for Iowa State came with 7.5 minutes to go in the third quarter, and Tony Yelk, who handles the kickoffs for them, is back there in the end zone to punt. Gross looking to spark Nebraska, and Yelk booms one. Drives him back inside the 30-yard line. The coverage team gets the job done. Ball to 34-yard line. Nebraska was hoping Gross could supply the spark, that he could light the fuse, but it was not to be. Iowa State leads at 26-7. We've got a timeout in Ames. Well, here at Ames, Big 12 North showdown, and Iowa State dominating 26-7. They've held this rushing team to 18 yards. And no I-back has rushed for 100 yards in 6 straight games. Diedrich was unhappy. He's out of the game. Corey Ross now comes in. 5 foot 6 inch. Fire plug, hoping to give him some kind of a spark. Get anything going offensively. Lord wants that same play he had for a touchdown, and it's almost picked off by Hobbs. Almost got even for being burned that time. Got right in front of Ross Pilkington, who went 90 yards for the score. He read it all the way. He followed Lord's eyes right across the field and jumped in front of him.
Same play off the option. And this time he said, no. I'm not making that mistake again. I'm going to stay with my man the whole way. When we got a lead like this, I don't really think we're going to run the option down our throat. I'm thinking pass.
Now Nebraska forced to air it out. They must play catch-up. They come with the option. Nothing doing that time as Corey Ross, the ball carrier, hit by Jeremy Lloyd, the senior linebacker from Pittsburgh, Texas. And as I mentioned Texas, in talking to Coach McCarney, that's one of the states where he goes to recruit. Gave up on Chicago because Big Ten and Notre Dame dominate that country. But he goes down to Texas, he goes into Florida, and also out to California. He's done an excellent job of spotting talent, convincing it to come on in here. And of course, they did a great evaluation of Seneca Wallace. And you can just imagine, for a man who's never tasted a victory over Nebraska, what it feels like on that sideline right now. And Lord's in deep, deep trouble again. Got a big block. And he's going to be short of the first down. Nebraska forced to punt.
Tremendous patience and discipline from this deep zone defense. Watch the linebackers. They drop in these zones, make everything happen behind them. These guys are very disciplined defense. No one to throw the ball to. Completely covered. And when Laborde reverses his field, looks like he's got a deep guy, but no. Great discipline from that Iowa State defensive secondary.
I can't get over that I'm saying this, but with 5:43 to go in the third quarter, Nebraska has only 2 first downs. I am stunned by that number. 4th down. Larson, fine punter. Miller's going to gamble by the shirt. Not going anywhere. Down at the 13. 1A. Almost 300 pounds for the Wildcats. Down low, but it was another reception. We take a look at the Big 12 today. Texas Tech, of course, big last night. How about Missouri all over Troy State? Texas leading Tulane, Oklahoma tonight, and Texas A&M tonight, and Kansas goes into Tulsa. John Saunders and Terry Bowden have made it known that they expect Oklahoma to beat Texas in a Red River shootout. And I will say to my friends in New York, not so fast, my friends. The Longhorns may even be favored in that football game. We'll have to wait and see. 2nd down now. That's going to be a great game. It's great to be in the Big 12 for the next few weeks. Rutland is stopped. Let's check in now with Jackaroo. Jack.
Brent, it's not often that you can take solace from a loss the way Dan McCarney did with his squad when they lost to Florida State. We saw that controversial attempt to go in by Seneca Wallace that was ruled not in. But Dan says that when he came back to the locker room, he looked in his players' eyes and he said they knew that they could play with anyone. He said it was critical for them when they came back from behind against their cross-state rival Iowa, and he said it served them well thus far today.
Penalty flag thrown before the snap against the Cyclones.
Dead ball. Ball start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat
So
third down.
next week here on ABC, those of you in Big 12 land will see the one out of Boulder, Kansas State against Colorado. Will start at 2:30 Central Time, and some of you will see Penn State against Wisconsin. The Nittany Lions will be down. UCLA, Oregon State. And look at these faces. Speaking of long faces here on the Nebraska sideline, it has been a tough on the road for Nebraska. And here comes Seneca, incomplete and on the sideline. So speaking of the Longhorns, John Saunders, what do you have for me, my friend?
Brent, you give us the not so fast, we'll give you the very fast, as in Cedric Benson. Big hole there and a great shift. And then the stiff arm takes it 15 yards for the touchdown, and those Longhorns right now cruising over Tulane 21-0. Brent.
All right, John. Benson, one of the better running backs in the land. And, of course, in 2 weeks, it's the showdown with Oklahoma and Dallas. Great game last year. Expect more of the same this year. Blocked. Nebraska has blocked it. Tackled in the end zone. But he's going to be down at the 2-yard line. Nebraska with a great scoring opportunity off the blocked punt. The one huge edge Nebraska had in this game, special teams. McCarney's team relaxed. He'll be livid about this.
Well, it's the last 2 series. Iowa State has gone 3 and out, 3 and out. Last time they barely got it off, and this time right up the gut. Is it number 7 again? Yes. Mario Williams was one of them, and Turpin, number 2, was the other. 2 guys blocked that ball, and it's first and goal for Michigan.
So Turpin and Williams give the offense a chance. Can Lord, who's a good runner, take it in quickly? Iowa State had to hustle the 11th man on the field. The fullback, Daly spins, touchdown, Judd Davies, the junior from Omaha, has given us a football game, and it was the special team of Nebraska that turned it around. They were only 3 big plays away from jumping right down the Cyclones' throat, and there's number 1. Josh Brown hammers it through. So Ross Pilkington, who went 90 yards for their first touchdown, urging the teammates on now as it's 26-14. Here's their second touchdown.
Davies just an inside handoff at fullback, but boy, oh boy, Nebraska with barely 2 first downs in the game.
We've got a timeout. No, it's great to have a blocked punt. Turpin was in there with Williams all over the ball, and now Nebraska with a life. We get the heads back up on that sideline now. Seneca Wallace will need a drive. Fine kickoff. It'll come out on the 20-yard line, and both teams whacking away at each other on the kickoff team. Jack, Nebraska's special teams are just that, aren't they, my friend?
Well, Brent, one of the things they've done the last couple of years is they've gone out and recruited, especially on the defensive side of the ball, with an eye sport special teams. They look at special teams play at the high school level, and they pick their linebackers, their cornerbacks, and their safeties, and they immediately put them on the special teams play. Then, during fall camp, they gain 3 practices where all they talk about and practice is special teams.
So Seneca Wallace brings the Cyclones out, and they're in need of a little bit of a rally. They have to pick it up. They've gone just a little flat here against Nebraska. Four-down lineman for the Huskers. Sprints to the right. Come down the sideline. There's a penalty flag thrown. Danielson goes up incomplete on the pass. But the field judge threw a penalty flag.
It's going to be pass interference on Whitver that time. He knocked and blocked, actually, 2 defenders for Nebraska. This one was lucky it wasn't intercepted. This ball should have been intercepted. It was a flat misread. Philip Bland had that thing just corralled. Should have caught the ball. Oh, I can't believe they're going to call this
on the defense. 10-yard penalty. In the previous spot.
I was looking right at the play. I'm surprised too, Frank. Whitver's coming out. He's going to curl, and Danielson's going to go behind him. Watch how he comes back and blocks the number 28 Ricketts right there, and they call pass interference.
First down. Here's Wallace pounding the ball straight ahead with Rutland. And again, the Cyclones may be growing just a touch conservative. And you know, coaches have to do that when he's never beaten a team like Nebraska. And man, he's got this lead. And here we are in Ames, Iowa. Seneca Wallace, the offense now face a second down and 8. Seneca 17 of 30. He's thrown 2 costly picks. 196 yards. Danielson 9 catches for 111 yards. Now here's the big second down. 3 wide. They flare 2 backs. If they spot it, it'll be close. The receiver was Lance Young, the junior from St. Louis.
Washington's doing a nice job over there.
Short of the first down.
Yeah, just short. But nice job over there Washington's doing. He's forcing very good throws to the outside. He's right on each play and forcing Seneca Wallace to put it right on target. I agree. It seems like Iowa State has stopped attacking with the rollout pass from Seneca Wallace so far in the second half.
This will be a fine time to use it because he can always run for that first down, and they need one here. They don't want to be punting. Rutland's not going to get it. That was a great second effort, however, is Turpin making the stop, and Rutland sort of slashed toward that first down marker as he kind of rolled off of him. It was a great second effort.
He did spin across and picked up because he met him right at the line of scrimmage. Turpin did.
This is a tough run, folks.
Here's Turpin right here. Watch him come up and fill this play and meet Rutledge right at the line of scrimmage, and then he spins for the first down across the thing. Well, that very, very close.
Cyclone fans breathe a huge sigh of relief. Stack is on the left, and he's going to roll hard in that direction. Got the pressure. Moves back up against the middle. Dayline right side. Here's the athletic ability of Seneca Wallace. Steps out at the 30-yard line. First down on a brilliant 30-yard run by the Iowa State quarterback.
He doesn't do it unless he has to. And on that play, Nebraska was ready for the outside roll. Quick snap from shotgun. He comes outside. Nothing there. Nebraska's got him outmanned. Comes back to the other side, and all of a sudden the athlete says, I'm going to pick up a huge first down.
3 wide for Iowa State, leading at 26-14. Michael Wagner in at running back. Short drop, slant, got his man Young, drops it. Fumble. He never waved that it was incomplete. There it is on the turnover. Normally you expect that play to be an incomplete pass, but the linesman had a great view of it as Philip Bland jumps on the loose ball. Now maybe they're going to, that's it. Fumble recovery.
You said complete. I thought he caught it cleanly on the ball. It's a quick slant inside. Ball's right on target. He has it, takes a step, and then it's stripped. That's a fumble and a good call. And Nebraska's back in the ball game.
And Bland with a big play. Now it's up. to Lord and the Husker offense. The inside handoff, and they continue with Corey Ross at the I-back.
Never easy to beat 23 out of 24 years of tradition against you. You knew Nebraska was not going to lie down on this football game.
Last 10 possession, 8 drives of 3 plays or less. Both scoring drives have been 1 play. 90-yard touchdown pass and 2-yard run following the blocked punt. Wilson Thomas, the receiver that time, and there's another first down, and that's a story. When Nebraska gets a first down in this game, that's 3 for them. Both touchdowns coming on first down. Amazing. From their own 10 and from Iowa State's 2. Here's your yardage total, and we repeat, Iowa State has left Nebraska in this game, and Diedrich returns middle, running with some determination that time to the 34-yard line. Nick Leaders tripped him up.
Iowa State again matched up against 2 tight ends and 2 backs with 4 defensive linemen and 4 linebackers. They're doing that every time Nebraska comes in with 2 tight ends and 2 running backs.
Still to come, the 4th quarter here in Ames. Iowa State with a chance, but Nebraska with their hands raised high. The 4th quarter, they say, belongs to us. We shall see after this message and word from our ABC station. But Iowa State has been unable here to put Nebraska away, despite the fact that in time of possession, Iowa State has controlled the ball for 31 minutes to less than 15 for Nebraska. Now for Jamal Lord and the Huskers. On the second down, he'll take off, but he's going nowhere as Tyson Smith was over there defensively. Number 1, the junior defensive end from Des Moines.
One of the things that bothered Frank Solich was messed up mental mistakes by his offense and defense, and this was a mental mistake by somebody that wasn't very cleanly handled. It did not have a good mesh play, and that's why it got defeated at the line of scrimmage by Iowa State. Frank Solich says that the quarterback for Nebraska not only has to be a good runner, but he has to be precise, and that one did not look precise, and that's why it was stopped.
3rd down and 5 for Lord and the Huskers. Iowa State expected the pass, and they got it, and they picked it off. Brown has got it. Dayline, 15, tackle by Thomas inside the 10-yard line. Brandon Brown, the sophomore from Houston. And folks, you would have thought he was the receiver on this play. They expected the pass. They had backed him off in a zone with only 4 men up front, and here it came.
Remember earlier when Seneca Wallace threw the ball on the slant to Danielson for the touchdown, you have to account for the one inside guy when you're running a play. Jamal Lord does not account for that guy. You must find the inside guy when you're throwing the short route like that. If you don't see him, that's your job. The receiver can beat the deep guy. You have to beat the underneath coverage as a quarterback. 1, 2, 3, find the underneath coverage, boom, right in the chest.
But the Iowa State offense has not been able to finish drives in the red zone. If there's one part of their game that has not been overly impressive, it is that. Wagner, second down, I should say now. Play fake, Wallace running for the pylon, touchdown! That bootleg was beautiful. Super Seneca races in, and the dagger is delivered at 13-21.
This was a run all the way. No pass option on this one. Fake and go. Everyone is blocking. The ball is tough. Danielson is blocking in the corner, and it's a touchdown off a bootleg keeper. No pass option on that one. (32-14). And
scoreboard mounts.
You see, he won't even turn around and look. He's got a stalk Fabian right here. He's blocking all the way, shields him, and that's an easy touchdown. It was run all the way.
Iowa State feasting on turnovers. Timeout. All smiles on that sideline, but it's starting to crack on the Nebraska side. Gross came off very emotional, yelling and screaming. And so the defensive coordinator, Craig Bull, had to bring the troops together in a huddle around him and try to keep them together down here as it's falling apart at the seams. And it's never pleasant watching a dynasty crumble, but that's what's happened over these last 4 road games for Nebraska. This crowd is ready to party. Davis will bring it out. Opens up again for him. 45, midfield, penalty flag has been thrown. A penalty flag is thrown back on the 12-yard line. So hold on, it was a 78-yard return and it's coming back.
That's the 10th penalty for Nebraska. It's not just the yards of penalties, it's the yards they've lost. 2 of them been on big returns on kickoffs.
I believe Nebraska may change quarterbacks. We saw Mike Stunts warming up with his helmet on. We see Kurt Dukes up and throwing without the helmet. Nebraska has been held to 156 yards of offense and 3 first downs. 90 of the yards came on 1 play, and Jamal Lord will sit down. So Mike Stunts, the sophomore from Council Bluffs, Iowa, who threw one of the more famous passes in Nebraska history on that throwback to Eric Crutch against Oklahoma last October. And my, how times have changed since that great play by the Cornhuskers, since that glorious day in Lincoln for them. Stunts will start off with a handoff into the middle, and they go back with Forrest. This is the play. Stunts was working as a wide receiver, and now Stunts gets a shot to see what he can do.
These numbers are becoming reminiscent of what Nebraska used to do to Iowa State. 39 yards rushing in the 4th quarter.
Toss play, Diedrich upended at the 15-yard line by Jermaine Billups from Omaha Central. And isn't Billups enjoying this? It's been a story of turnovers today, 3 aside, but look at the points off turnovers. That's how you measure the damage. 17 Cyclone turnovers. I don't like to see that as Billups with an arm injury headed off to the sideline over there. Switched from running back to defensive back, and he's played so very well. First down and 10. Play fake by Stunts, and it's a good one. Fires down the middle. Deflected. Nice play by Atif Austin, the senior from Tarpon Springs, Florida.
Much more difficult with this lead to run those play-action passes that Nebraska's so good at when the score is close or when they're ahead. But when they're behind, those defensive backs just don't bite on those type of plays any longer. Nebraska must go shotgun. They must throw normal drop-back passes to work it work.
Second down and 10. Diedrich. Well, let's check in again on the Gators, and here's John Saunders in New York.
Brent, as you know, the quick strike can come often with the Gators. Rex Grossman here, waiting for Taylor Jacobs to get downfield. What a great catch and throw. 35 yards. Jacobs 183 yards receiving today to go with his 2 touchdowns, and Florida back on top. Brent.
And that has become a dandy down in the swamp as a round mound of touchdown, keeping Kentucky right in it. Here's Stunts now, takes it off. Hit at the 29-yard line. Let's take a look at our Nissan Drive summary, and this is the Cornhuskers' last 5 possessions, Gary.
And it's about what you expected. I mean, look at this. 1 play, 2 yards on their touchdown right there. No long sustained drives. Where are those 8-play, 9-play, 12-play drives that we're so used to watching? Another thing, Brent, you look at the tailbacks for Nebraska. You want to know what's different? The longest run of the year by a tailback for Nebraska, 22 yards.
They haven't really had that go-to tailback since Amon Green could flash 70, 80 yards. Such a difference in the Nebraska attack. Play fake stunts will pull it back out now. Got an open man and threw it behind him, and it was almost intercepted by Hobbs, who's had another shot. Well, Shannon Sharp and Ray Lewis were teammates in Super Bowl 35. Now they'll be on opposite sides of the ball. It's Monday at 9 Eastern. The Broncos and the Ravens. Our stats man George Hill will head in there. And Gary, who do you like in the Broncos and the Ravens? We don't know about Brian Greasy's injured ankle.
Yeah, he's tripping over a lot of things lately, Brian Greasy. Let's see if he can get by the Ravens. I don't know. Those NFL games go anyway. It's getting that way in college football now, too. Anyone can win any game. Stunts threw a real knuckler on that one last one. That was a very bad throw.
Timeout, Nebraska. So we'll take a break. Inside of 11 minutes. Brown with one of the 3 turnovers on the interception, and he also recovered a fumble. Timeout. 74 plays today for Iowa State, and Gary only 37 for the Cornhuskers.
Well, it's been domination. If it hasn't been for 2 big plays, the block punt and the big 90-yard touchdown play, it's been total domination. Remember this, Nebraska has won 27 consecutive times the opening game of the Big 12, and it looks like that streak's going to end. And maybe a lot of other streaks for Nebraska, too.
2-game losing streak.
Yes.
Mike Stunts. Thomas, the receiver. Well, 3 turnovers have been so costly because Iowa State turned these 3 into 17 points. There was the fumble alertly recovered by a man who was out of bounds, and here in collegiate football you can jump back in the field. Then there was the other fumble recovery, and then the bad pass to Brown, and that ended Jamal Ward's workday. So 2 touchdowns and a field goal off those turnovers.
Don't know which one was worse, the 2 early ones or that last one when they were trying to get back in the football game. They still had a shot at it.
Corey Ross, the ball carrier again.
Brent, when Dan McCarney came to Iowa State, he told everyone above him, the athletic director and everyone, and he said, I don't want to talk bad about anybody, but it's going to take some time. He told us there was only 1 Division I defensive player on the whole team. Now he's turned this into a team that has defensive guys that can run to the ball and play solid defense like he built in Iowa. He built in Wisconsin when he was the defensive coordinator for Barry Alvarez, and now he's building this quick defense into the same looking type of unit.
I hope they can keep him here.
Yeah,
and I mean that, very seriously, because sometimes, you know, this has been a place where good coaches have come and moved on. You know, Johnny Majors and Earl Bruce and those fellas, and they get more lucrative offers someplace. And he seems very comfortable here. He's done such a nice job. And now it's going to be Stunts pitching. And Pilkington throwing to an open man, and it's incomplete. So Pilkington was the thrower that time, but it is incomplete.
You know, this Iowa State defensive backs, they might not, you mentioned they were smallish inside, you know, 5'8", 5'9". But they were the 4th rated pass defense in the country last year in that season, and they are comfortable with the football in the air. They face it a lot from practice from Seneca Wallace, and you see them react to the ball. There's no panic in their game. When the ball's up in the air, they come off their man and end up making play after play after play.
That last intended receiver was Grigsby for the Cornhuskers. He slipped into their lineup. Here is Thomas again, and Stunts showing us a good touch on that little underneath ball, firing it left-handed. Brandon Brown, who's been very active defensively, makes the stop, and crisp drive, and of course this will give the newspapermen and the talk radio shows a lot of things to discuss about Nebraska football, and I'm sure they will immediately jump on that quarterback position.
You think they needed this last drive for material to talk about over there in Lincoln and Omaha?
No, I think they had plenty. But that'll give them 10 minutes anyway. Who should be the quarterback? Here comes Stunts now. Wide open. And he's going down at the 45. There's a penalty flag downfield. There's a penalty flag that is on the field at the 35-yard line. Pilkington and Hobbs were locked up over there.
Disregard the foul. No penalty.
Well, now it is time for the Pacific Life game summary. And here is Lord facing that tough defense. Here is Danielson for a touchdown. He's caught 9 passes for 111 yards. And then the bootleg for Seneca Wallace, who has thrown for a touchdown and run for a couple.
That about captures it. When you play the type of defense that they have. Remember, Nebraska tried to come into this game saying, we're going to run the ball inside. Dan McCarney's defense said, no, you're not. Then they had the receivers and Seneca Wallace, the playmaker, that have dominated the football game.
There's Stunts in trouble and goes down at midfield in the arms of Leaders, the freshman nose man from Omaha. Man, he's played his heart out down there for a freshman. The coaches told us he doesn't play the nose like a freshman. And well, his daddy played here, and that's how Nebraska lost on him.
I'll tell you, Leaders, Tabrink, Karstens, all 3 of those inside guys have been too tough to handle for Nebraska's offensive line. And when's the last time you said that? Nebraska's offensive line not being able to handle a defensive line.
3rd down and 11. Screen underneath for the first down. Inside the 35-yard line as Ross picks it up, and we check in with Jack.
Well, Brady, we're talking about the movement under Dan McCarney with this team. Well, how about the renovations at Jack Trice Stadium? They've got this whole new end zone that's been completed. They've got a brand new scoreboard, but that's not all. That's just the beginning of $8.7 million, including this indoor practice facility, 92,000 square feet. Coach McCarney says, well, it's going to be just outside of Jack Trice Stadium. It will certainly help recruiting.
Mark LaFleur, the split end, play fake, and Stunt's going to go for him. Overthrew him just a bit.
Number 27, Mark LaFleur.
Welcome to those of you who watched Michigan and Illinois open the Big Ten campaign over in Champaign. Here, Iowa State shocking Nebraska. So Michigan headed for a win apparently over the Illini in that one. And here it looks like Iowa State about to get the job done against Nebraska. They've lost 23 of 24 games against the Cornhuskers. Coach McCarney in 7 years has never beaten Nebraska, but he's closing in now. He's 7:49 away, and he is still coaching hard, just like he has all game.
And he knows that's what he needs. Just like Bill Snyder did it at Kansas State, just like Barry Alvarez, his old head coach at Wisconsin, did. Alvarez beat Michigan. Snyder knocked off Nebraska. He knows for this squad, Iowa State, to take the next step, they have to knock off one of the heavyweights. And it looks like they're on their way to do it.
Stunts going to throw back. And it'll be 4th down for Nebraska. And time permitting, stay tuned for the Thrifty Car Rental postgame report featuring scores and highlights from across the country. John and Terry standing by in New York, and maybe they'll give us the winners of all the games the rest of the time. So we've got a timeout. The ball's been spotted at the 35-yard line, and Nebraska wants to talk about this 4th down and why they do. We'll take a break. Well, this drive started back at the 6-yard line with Stunts at quarterback. And it is certainly the best drive so far, a sustained drive for Nebraska, but he faces the big 4th down now. and it's incomplete. Ball goes over to Iowa State. So a record of sorts is about to topple as far as Nebraska is concerned. When we look at the Associated Press top 20, there's the top 10, no Nebraska. When you go to the next 10, Iowa State ranked ahead of Nebraska. Nebraska will fall off the charts, and they have been ranked 347 consecutive weeks in the polls since 1981. And Nebraska is about to take another hit. They have rushed for only 60 yards here today against Iowa State. It has been, as Gary pointed out, total domination. First down and 10. Wagner. But if you're wondering how high can this Cyclone team go in the Big 12, well, hold on, folks, before you do that. It is as tough a schedule as I've seen in the country. Look at that. Gary just checked off the 1920 back-to-back at Oklahoma, at Texas. Folks, they're not over. They come home from Missouri, then they go Kansas State. And have you seen one any tougher than that, Gary?
No, but you know what? Iowa State has been used to playing as an underdog their whole career here at Iowa State. Hey, that's what you do when you play for Iowa State in the Big 12. You got games where you're not expected to win, and I don't think McCarney cares right now.
No, he doesn't. He wants number one so badly he can feel it. And they break Wagner midfield. And he is angled out of bounds at the 35-yard line. And now the dispirited Nebraska team is being put away. A 28-yard run. And McCartney says, let's keep going. Remember what they did to us. And yesterday, Reggie Roby came in here. The former Iowa punter was recruited by McCartney back in his days as an assistant with Hayden Fry. Roby said that the Hawkeyes, with Roby the punter, went into Lincoln and they got slaughtered. The next year, they welcomed them back to Iowa City and they shocked the world. And they did not ease up. They kept going down the stretch. And this has all the earmarks of the exact same thing right now. Wagner, daylight, wide open. He's to the 20-yard line. 16 more yards they're putting on him.
We were there when it started to turn for Nebraska at Colorado. Then they go to play Miami. As you watch this one right here, and you say, uh-oh, 2 in a row. But maybe those were just great teams. You go play in Happy Valley and you say, well, we were close in the first half. This might be the toughest one to swallow. A team that you beat on for years, coming here, and you look at a team that's doing to you what you used to do to them.
When you look at the scores that Frank Solich ran up against McCartney for 7 years, it is now first down and 10 for the Cyclones. And they come right back to McCartney. You go back to 95, the first one. McCartney and Iowa State lost that one 73-14. 2 years later, it was 77-14. A year ago, it was 48-14. There's 7 years of total frustration with that man in playing Nebraska, and he doesn't care who accuses him of running it up in this football game. He's just going to say, go get more.
How about this? The fans are leaving, Brent. Usually from Iowa State, they left when they were getting routed. Now they're leaving with the lead.
Wait a minute. I saw some ends on that red, my friend. I think those are Nebraska.
I think they're both.
Those were Nebraska fans leaving. This is ready to celebrate and tear down a goalpost here in Ames. So Seneca Wallace. Here he is, Gary.
He's done it all. He hasn't had the brilliant game that would vault him right atop of the Heisman hopefuls, but he's the playmaker on this team. Threw a little too many turnovers for him in this game, but you can see how tough he is to defense. Nebraska was spread all over the field, and he used those receivers. He really doesn't have a go-to guy. He uses them all.
There have been 96 games in this series. Nebraska has shut out Iowa State 24 times, or 25% of the time that they have played. Wagner is stopped at the 20-yard line, and now it is fourth down coming up. The party will officially start in about 22 now.
Questions will start. Should they change their offense?
Here we go. They're going for a field goal on 4th down. Adam Beneke, like I told you, they're going to try to ring up the score, whatever they can get. This is a 37-yarder. Got it. And the screw tightens. 36-14, leaving nothing here to a miracle. This man was hoarse from all the talking that he did this week. And to watch this team out in practice is to see a very well-coached football team. These youngsters believed here this week that they could get the job done. And Seneca Wallace has been the leader, Gary.
In every way, they built this team around them. They got 40 of 48 guys returning on this football team. The number 1 guy, number 15, is not returning. And when you defense this football team, he's not a Michael Vick in power. He's not an Randall L in footwork, but he's a blend of both, the way he throws the ball and keeps that defense completely off balance.
And the numbers are unbelievable. Well, we welcome those of you who've been watching college football elsewhere. Here, a shocker. Iowa State is not just beating Nebraska, they are bloodying them. 412 yards for Iowa State to 215 for Nebraska. 90 of the 215 for the Cornhuskers coming on one long bomb. And Nebraska has run for only 60 yards. It has been total domination.
And 56 of the yards on the last drive came almost in garbage time when Iowa State was giving them the short throw.
Iowa State just tacked on a field goal to make it 36-14. And Coach McCarney closing in on his first win ever against the Cornhuskers. The backup quarterback, Mike Stuntz, relieved Jamal Lord. And he will be bringing the offense out with 3:48 to go.
You also wonder if Nebraska's going to burn the red shirt for Kurt Dukes, their freshman who came to Nebraska in the spring. He attended spring football practice and was listed number 2 for a while, but now he slipped down to number 3, and you wonder if they're going to make the move now.
Very highly touted youngster from North Carolina, I believe. Fumble! Iowa State's got it. Johnny Smith, the junior from Bradenton, Florida, picks it up from McCarney.
Pop a running play and then get another turnover on it. I think it was Mark Timmons that got the tackle and popped that ball loose.
And the 3 earlier turnovers resulted in 17 Cyclone points. For a loss. Trevor Johnson and ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you by Nissan and your Nissan dealer. Valvoline's Max Life, the first motor oil formulated for higher mileage engines. So the ball resting inside the 30-yard line. Second down. Wagner again muscles his way to the 29-yard line, and it will be 3rd down. And a reminder that Wednesday on ABC, George Lopez discovers the family secret, his long-lost father, in the season premiere of the hit comedy George Lopez, Wednesday at 8:30, 7:30 Central, after My Wife and Kids, right here on ABC.
These people have waited a long time for a day like this around here, haven't they?
Seems like forever. Haven't won since 92. That had beaten Nebraska.
The students are to our left across the way, and they're ready to come out.
Oh, they'll. There's Wagner. He stopped. And again, a reminder that ABC Sports presentation of college football has been brought to you by Valvoline's Max Life, the first motor oil formulated for higher mileage engines. The Hartford, always thinking ahead. And Old Navy Painter's Pants, the Handyman's Classic. There'll be some Old Navy pants dashing on the field here in Ames in just a moment. You can see them pressing down now close to the sideline. Jackaroot with his track shoes on. He will be trying to get his hands on the coach if he can find him. Get ready down there, Jack. Adam Beneke to tack on another one if he can. Outside to the right, and it's no good. But it's 36-14 timeout. When you've lost 23 of your last 24 games to an opponent, that's when you get ready to party. And Stunts goes long, incomplete. Let's check in now with John Saunders in New York.
Brent, with the Old Navy update, plenty of offense in this game, and here's some D as well. Jared Lorenzen, well, his man is open, but he underthrows him right into the hands of Kewan Ratliff, who takes it 65 yards to the end zone for the touchdown, as Florida's lead is now 11 in the fourth quarter.
And here a head coach is about to get a bath on that Iowa State sideline. Some of the players were loading up the water and the jugs over there. It bounced. Incomplete. The last time. There it is.
That's just normal weather here in about a month from now in Ames.
Finally. But no smile yet.
Not yet.
Not until this ends. Still coaching.
How about a day for Iowa football here in this state? Iowa goes to Happy Valley and knocks out Penn State, and the Hawkeyes knock off Nebraska.
The Cyclones have done a job here against Nebraska, and that is incomplete. And certainly the Hawkeyes jumped all over Penn State and then were forced into overtime to win that game. It's as big a day as there's ever been in Iowa football. Well, we want to thank a whole lot of folks. Executive producer of ABC Sports, Howard Katz. Senior producer here, Bob Toms. Coordinating producer, the producer of the game, Bob Goodrich. Director, Derek Mobley came in from the West Coast, did a great job. Technical director, Monty Poling. Associate producer, Drew Kaliski. Stunts completes this one. Underneath, clock continues to run, and certainly all of us here in this broadcast team want to pass along our very best wishes to the family of our regular director, Larry Cam. His father, Herb, an outstanding writer, passed away earlier this week, and I know that Larry is with the family on the West Coast, and certainly, Larry, our best goes out to you and everybody in the Cam family. Here in Nebraska, getting out of bounds to stop the clock with Thomas. Stepping out, 46 seconds now left in another road disaster for the Cornhuskers. 4 straight times now they've gone on the road and they have been battered. Colorado, Miami in the Rose Bowl, Penn State, and now a team they have dominated for 20-some years, and even before that, really. Here's Stunts. In the air, incomplete. And now 41 seconds until party time. It's like, folks, watching the students along the end line and the sideline. It's like watching the ball in Times Square when you know it's sitting there and it's going to start to tick down. And it will be a sea of humanity.
Just sideline warning right here, huh?
Right onto the stadium. And he has no chance. He's a heavy, heavy underdog here. And the Cyclones Stunts out of bounds with 33 seconds now left on the clock. So Seneca Wallace comes in here and leads Iowa State to a victory, and certainly, Gary, you would think at least he keeps a glimmer of hope for his Heisman Trophy wins, because quarterbacks depend on victories.
He plays the right teams, and I guess if he runs the table, he'll be right there. This today, I don't think he caught anybody too much, but you know what? Beating Iowa State and leading this team like this, I think that's enough.
High, incomplete.
What must Nebraska be thinking? You know how Iowa State feels about this. They've worked through this for 5-7 years. What must Nebraska be thinking? All the pride that they've had, the thought that they were the tradition, the heavyweight, they could come in here and bully Iowa State. It did not work.
First thing they're thinking is, how do we get out of here? They're surrounded down there. Stunts. Getting time, middle, high, incomplete. 22 seconds remaining. Pilkington, who scored on that 90-yard pass. For those of you who just joined us, that was Nebraska's first touchdown. A 90-yard pass from Lord to Pilkington as a corner bit, thinking it was going to be an option. And finally, McCarney with the headset off is allowing himself a smile on the far sideline. He's already had his victory bath.
He was warned not to take this job by fellow coaches that he knew. He said, I know Iowa. I'm from Iowa. I can make this program work. He was right.
Fumble! The Cyclones have got it, and we're all but done. Josh Davis. And the ball is recovered by Anthony Forrest, the sophomore from Fort Worth, Texas, number 17. And now we are one knee away from a party.
I think it was Joe Woodley that got the hit, the big hit that caused the fumble. The fullback and linebacker got the hit. He couldn't score, but he just forced the turnover to end the game.
The Chuck Bednarik of Iowa State just delivered the final blow. What a day for Iowa State. Let the party begin. The students mobbing the team. 36-14 is our final score. And our Chevrolet players of the game for Nebraska, Fabian Washington, and the leader, Seneca Wallace, for Iowa State. He throws for 220 yards. Threw for a touchdown. Ran for a couple of scores. Perhaps the greatest day in Iowa State football history. Seneca Wallace leads the Cyclones